Hey, Pleasant City. What's up, guys? My name is Robbie. I've been asked to make a short devotional video for you using Proverbs 29:18 and on the topic of church membership. And so I wanted to take a couple minutes to do that for you. Here's the thing. When we read Proverbs 29:18, it says this. It says, "Where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint, but blessed is he who keeps the law." And here's what that means. So the prophetic vision is talking about is revelation from God. And so it's saying that where there is no revelation from God, or where we ignore revelation that's been given to us from God, the people of God will cast off restraint. That's similar to saying people will do whatever's right in their own eyes, if you want to use the phrase from Judges, or think about Israel at the base of Mount Sinai, where they were just kind of going off the rails and worshiping calves and doing all this crazy stuff. So that's the casting off of restraint that happens when God's people don't follow God's vision, or people don't follow God's plan. It also says that blessed is he who keeps the law. So the other side of that is when we do follow God's plan, we're blessed for that. So when God's people follow God's plan, they're blessed. When God's people don't follow God's plan or don't have it, they cast off restraint and they fall into sin. The wonderful thing about that is God's a good father to us, and God does give us a plan. He doesn't leave us to figure out what we should be doing on our own. And the plan that God gives us is his word. So his ultimate revelation to us is his word, and that is what we use as an anchor point for our lives. So in his word, God tells us how to lead our families, how to move ourselves towards personal holiness. It tells us how to handle our work relationships. It tells us all sorts of things that we need to know. And one of the beautiful things that happens in God's word is he tells us about this thing called the church. And God's plan for his people is a church. God's plan for his people is for them to gather together to worship him, to grow in faith towards him, to study together, to live together, to share life together. And all of this plays out not in some big nebulous group or something we might call the Big C church, but all this plays out really in a local context. So this is going to happen with believers that we know and that we see every day. We're not called to be Lone Ranger Christians or renegades just living out our faith by ourselves, but we're called to live out our faith in community with one another. And so that's God's plan. God's plan, he's given us one, and that plan is the church. And that plan really plays out in the context of the local church. And so what we then have to answer is, so what is this thing called church membership? And here's really how church membership works. The Bible, when it talks about the church, it's not describing this group of loosely affiliated Christians. It's describing a group of Christians that's operating very much like a tight-knit family. They're devoting themselves to prayer. They're devoting themselves to the apostles' teachings in Acts 2. They're meeting in homes. They're meeting in the synagogues. They're doing these things together. They're living life and sharing life together as a body of believers. And here's where church membership plays into that. When you get saved, you're saved. That's an internal transformation that happens through the power of the Holy Spirit. But the way that you announce that salvation to the world is through baptism. So in baptism, it's not that baptism saves you, but it is that baptism is your announcement to the world that you're a person of God, you're a child of God. And church membership works the same way. So church membership is not something that makes you close to these individuals. Church membership is you announcing to the world. It's you announcing this covenant relationship to the world, where you're going to come into a relationship with these folks. You're committing yourself to them. You're going to bear their burdens with them. You're going to learn with them. You're going to grow with them. You're going to submit to pastoral leadership with them. And that's really what church membership is. It's a beautiful thing. Church membership is what we're prescribed to do by God. It is his plan. And the church and membership in a local church really is what's designed by God for our good, to keep us from falling into sin and to keep us from casting off restraint. Man, I love you guys. I hope that this video finds you well, and I hope that our conversations as a church and as individuals around church membership continue to grow and continue to allow us to be more and more faithful to God's plan. Thanks.